Thank you everybody for coming today. So today is a panel presentation of women entrepreneurs here in San Miguel. Hoy vamos a presentar a mujeres emprendedoras aquí en San Miguel y es una presentación de Ser Mujer, que somos un grupo de mujeres y estamos haciendo programación para el mes de marzo. Queremos Ser Mujer despierta conciencia del estatus de mujeres en el mundo y trabajamos para solucionar problemas y para hacer cambios. Ser Mujer is a group here in town. I'm a member, and we are trying to raise awareness around women's issues and present solutions to problems. And so today we're very happy to present some women who are in fact doing that very thing. They are making changes in their community, and we're really proud to present these women. Y hoy vamos a presentar a algunas mujeres que están haciendo cambios en sus comunidades y es con mucho orgullo. Gracias por venir. Y el año pasado, por este panel, hubo mucha gente, pero este año menos, pero alguien me dijo es la calidad del público, no es la cantidad. And this year, last year we had many more people in the audience, but someone mentioned to me that it's the quality of our audience and not necessarily the quantity of people that we have. So thank you for coming, and thank you to our presenters. First, we're going to present, this is Charlotte Bell and Suzanna Martínez, and they are from a group called Las Rancheritas, and I will let them explain what they have been working on. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. We're very honored to be invited to be on this panel and to have this discussion. I'm going to speak in English and do the presentation in English, and then Suzanna will give us the presentation in Spanish. So, primero yo voy a hablar en inglés y después Suzanna en español para ustedes. Well, está bien. First, let me just introduce two other women, Pablito y these are our other representatives of the group. There are 15 women, or actually 16 now, in this particular group, and I'm going to be using a slideshow to show you a little bit about what we're up to, how we began, and just a little bit more about the group so that you can get to know who we are. But gracias, Suzanna, si le gusta hacer así, porque voy a hablar con mucho tiempo. So, I would like to begin by introducing Suzanna, as you just did, because she was the first rancherita, so to speak. Back in 1995, there was a program that was put on, well, let me just say here, this is the Rancheritas at their new store, and they're in Agustin Gonzalez, which is about 20 minutes or 14 miles from San Miguel. It is let's see if I can get this thing to work here. It's a farming community, as are most of the little ranchos around here. They not only are great farmers, but they're also fantastic cooks, which we will talk about a little bit later. But this is how the group began. And Mujeres en Cambio, in the mid-90s, when they were in their inception, were trying to figure out a way for women to help women improve their lives. And they figured they needed two things. One was they needed some way to make money, and the other was they needed girls needed to be educated. And the Rug Hook Project began, actually what they're doing, the major focus of their fundraising right now is to provide scholarships for girls that are going from secundaria through university. But we are under the umbrella of Mujeres en Cambio because we were their first project, which was about helping women make money. And the reason that they chose rug hooking, one thing, it was the genius of a particular, from what I understand, an antiques dealer in New York suggested this task. And he figured out, because these women have great skills in, you see these everywhere, right? These are like dish towels, serviettas. And they figured if they could do this, they could certainly learn how to hook rugs. So they offered the program. I was not around at this time, so it's Carmen Marambio. She was the teacher, and it was at DEEP that they offered this course in rug hooking. And Suzanna was one of the first women, along with another woman who's no longer with the group. She moved out of the village, Hilaria Ramírez. And they went to DEEP to learn how to do this process because they figured, well, there's some way to make some money. And they studied for a year with Carmen. And Suzanna would bring her children with because we have kids and they had to watch the children. And she learned how to do it. And Georgianne Johnson, who is another Mujeres en Cambio, was very instrumental in getting this show on the road. And they would sell the rugs originally at the Mujeres en Cambio luncheons. Well, I kind of got on board because Mujeres en Cambio was certainly something I was interested in. By the way, I show this because this is what an average rug costs. And when we're talking about how to make impact in people's lives, this is some of the things that, $50 is sort of an average medium-sized rug. And these are some of the things that money will buy, as well as some of the things that are luxuries. Hand cream, aspirin, Band-Aids, color books, all these are luxuries. That this is a community that is doing really pretty well, but people are walking a line of financial disaster, I would say. Everybody in the family works together to bring finances into the family. They are rich in food, tradition, culture, family, generosity, but pesos in dollars and cash are the struggle. And that's, again, why the idea of having a craft that these women could learn was the idea of something that they could sell and make some money. So here we see Suzanna. This is a few years ago with her grandchild. And as we look through some of these pictures of the women, we'll see little examples of their work. This particular rug is called Chicken in Love. She's got a mind full of wonderful ideas. But this is when I got involved. Basically, actually, Suzanna said it was in 1999. I went out to take photographs for a website I was doing for Mujeres en Cambio. Had a friend that was here, had a craft store in Austin, Texas, where I go back and forth to. And she asked to see the rugs. I brought her all the rugs that they had at that time, and she bought them all. So, and we went back with $800. And that's where I got hooked. And we would bring, and so since that time I've been bringing rugs back into the States to sell them. But the good news is what's happening here in Mexico and how these women have taken on their own organization. I consider myself now a marketing consultant, marketing and business consultant. It is their group, and they are the ones that run the show. But here we see some of the other rancheritas. Obviously they don't have a whole lot of time, so what they do is they hook rugs, as Suzanna has a rug with her right now that she'll be working on. But they do it in whatever free time they have. But it's a good idea because they can do it at home. They don't have to go anywhere. They can do it when they have a free moment. And that's what's made this successful, because they can take care of their children, cook dinner, deal with their husbands, and yet still be making some money. So this is what they do. They hook what they live around. So we see some of these different rugs. The typical burro. And wonderful imaginations. These rugs have become very popular in the United States, as well as they're getting more and more popular here, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So, I'm just going to give you a little mini briefing of the group. This is the Las Rancheritas, and here they are with their rugs. And we talk a little bit about them, but you get to see the style of what each one has. What's wonderful is they each design all their own designs. They're not buying any, in the United States, many rug hookers, they buy a pattern and they do somebody else's design. These women, it's all from their own imagination, or things they find in their children's school books, for instance. But this is Bonnie, and they are, some of them are related. Sarah is Bonnie's niece, and Selma is married to Sarah's father-in-law. And Olivia is and Selma's daughter. And Remedios is her daughter-in-law. So there are groups that are, people, one person teaches another. Sylvia does wonderful rugs as well. You can see with her husband Jesus and her kids. Isabel is a single woman, and she is in her 30s now. And I think she probably will be single all her life, but this is her way to contribute to her family. But we don't always see her. Petra. Isabel Casares. And Aurelia, who's in the back. With her children. Some of these photos are kind of old, but they're still, you get to see their work and their faces.
10 children.
So this is where we got our big break. I was bringing these rugs back and selling them in the United States, and I got a call from a woman who was doing an article for this magazine. This is like all trades and all arts, they have magazines. And this is a very fancy full-color magazine, the rug hooking magazine. And she was writing this article, and she wrote an article about the Rancheritas in 2004. And this is what spurred all kinds of information and opportunities. These are just a few of the people that are the major helpers through the years, and we'll be talking about some of them as we see that people hear about it, they love it, and they want to do something, and they'll do something. For instance, these rugs are 100% wool, and all the wool is donated from the United States. These are rug hookers. They send me, I go back and forth between here and Austin, Texas. They send me the wool. I find big boxes of wool on my front porch in Austin. We unpack it, and then we haul it down. In fact, if anybody knows anybody who's ever going through Austin, Texas and coming down here, we always have wool that we need to have brought back. And then we have people like Kate Kiley in Minnesota, who's our wool central. And what she does is she's a rug hooker that has many people in her group that want to help. And so when they have extra wool or somebody doesn't do it anymore, they give their wool to Kate. Kate gathers it up together and then sends it down to me, and then we pack it down and we bring it down to San Miguel. So it's a deal, but wool is expensive. And now they have this wonderful material. Also, this article led to our first actual art show, which is in in Huntsville, Oregon, at this beautiful center where we saw the rugs actually displayed as the art that they are, which was really exciting to see. And also we had a rug hooking camp. That's what rug hookers call it when they get together. 40 people came down in 2008, and they worked with the Rancheritas, went out to their village, and they had this cultural exchange where they worked, and they were working on the same patterns and some of them, and they talked together, and it was real fun. Also, a group of Canadian hookers came down and taught them dyeing, because when you're dealing with donated wool, what are you going to do if you want blue? Well, if you can dye it, then you can make it. So that was real fun. A group of dyeing people. And then Becky Rohde, who's a retired home economics teacher, has been regularly, she's going out with her sister Judy, who we'll see in a minute, teaching them how to sew. And we have now 8 donated sewing machines that the women have in their homes so that they can put pillow backs, etc., on and make other products of their work. And here we can see them all learning sewing. And then this is Gene Shepard is a very famous teacher of art rug hooking in the United States. He put a special video together just for the Rancheritas in Spanish to teach them this new technique for doing the edges of their rugs. And then Judy Christopherson, who is a retired art teacher, she's regularly coming out and teaching them design philosophy. We try not to say you do this or make this design. Instead, she talks about using colors and doing contrast so that the rugs, when they make their rugs, they are more successful in how they come out. And these are a few of the places that we've had shows in, all over the United States. And of course, we have these rug hooking camps. AFA is the American Traditional Association of Traditional Rug Hookers. We've been invited to their biannuals for the last 3 years in different camps. But here in San Miguel, and this is the good news, is they sell their rugs at the Instituto shows, at the Writers' Conference, which was a bang-up success this year. You bought one. They sold 80 rugs at the conference. It was amazing. The Mujeres en Cambio luncheon still, they do, and then we'll be talking about it at the Rancherita store, which is this event center and a store, which is in their village. This building, and you can see how it looks now, it's beautiful. It's again this gorgeous property with a view of San Miguel and the mountains. And it started out in 2012 with this building that was donated by their community to the group to create a little craft store. And again, Mujeres en Cambio and other individuals donated money to be able to remodel it to what it is today. And we had part of the process was going to the ejido. Agustin Gonzalez is an ejido, and we got permission. We want to make sure we're going to fix this up, that it's legit. But that was another process. And everyone helped with painting and putting it together and remodeling it. And now every year we have, this is our grand opening, but we have the Mujeres en Cambio luncheon in January out at the Rancho, and they fed. They have 80 to 100 people. No problem for these women. They're great cooks. And the food is wonderful. We can see we were dancing away here last year at our grand opening because we put an addition on the store since we've had more donations. So, and this is, I'm sorry I don't have pictures of it, but you can go online to our website and see a mini YouTube of the Rancho tour. It's been around now for 1.5 years. It is the most successful thing other than the hooked rugs that we've done. It's an opportunity for anyone to go out into the village, pay a little money, we provide transportation, you get to see what their life is like, you can try out a metate to grind corn, you can try stone carving, you can try rug hooking. They serve the most amazing lunch. People rave about this lunch, and it's all food that they eat regularly. Tortillas and beans, no palmito salads, It's fantastic, and we're doing, and it's another way that the women organize it all, and it's another way to put more funds into this community. There is a book on them. It's in the biblioteca. If you're so interested and you want to look at a little bit more, it's a book on the Rancheritas and life in rural Mexico. And I want to really thank and mention, and Suzanna will do the same, is Yolanda Milan. She started working with the women about 3 years ago, and she works for the Center of Global Justice in teaching people how to organize themselves as cooperatives. And it is really through her amazing work that she has really created a strong voting group. They all take part in the organization of the group. They vote in new members. They have meetings once a week. They've turned into a real vital organization. And these are just some of the things we're doing. We're want to be promoting more the store event center. By the way, you can rent that if you have a class or you have a party, and the women can cook for you. They're working on new projects. We're thinking of connecting with the Guatemalan rug hookers in Guatemala. These are the only rug hookers in Mexico, by the way. There's just another group in Guatemala and in South America that's the only ones. And they're now starting to work on learning English and computers. So these are the future. So here are Las Rancheritas and their signatures. And next we're going to have Suzanna will be speaking to you in Spanish.
Hola, buenos días. Nosotras somos las rancheritas de la comunidad de Agustín González. Somos un grupo de 16 personas. A continuación les contaré una breve historia cómo iniciamos. Éramos 2 mujeres solamente. Decidimos acercarnos al DIF para poder tener un apoyo, un taller para nosotras las mujeres de nuestra comunidad. Fue el 19 de abril de 1995 cuando nos dirigimos, nos dieron el apoyo de los tapetes. Ahí conocimos a la señora Carmen Marampio y a la señora Georgie. Ellas nos presentaron con el grupo de mujeres. En cambio, ellas nos apoyaron. Éramos solo 2 mujeres, la señora Hilaria Ramírez y su servidora Suzanna. Nosotras aprendimos la elaboración de los tapetes. Lo que nosotras aprendimos lo mostramos a nuestras mujeres de la comunidad. Juntamos un grupo de 10 personas y nos pusimos a trabajar. Las mujeres, en cambio, nos apoyaron antes era una tela que se llamaba cambaya, y con yute se llamaba cambaya la tela. También filtro. Con eso comenzamos a trabajar. Al principio no teníamos éxito, pero con la ayuda de Georgie pudimos poner en venta nuestros trabajos. También conocimos a una americana llamada Mary Kane. Ella era de Canadá, nos apoyó poco tiempo, luego se fue. Después conocimos a la señora Charlotte en 1999, también gracias a ella y por medio de las mujeres, en cambio, que se unió a nosotras y nos apoyaron y nos sigue apoyando a todas las mujeres del grupo. Gracias a la señora Charlotte y a Mujeres en Cambio, ahora somos una cooperativa. Gracias a eso, ahora tenemos nuestro pequeño taller, tienda, que logramos tener con mucho trabajo y esfuerzo. Gracias a las donaciones que hemos tenido por parte de los amigos y conocidos de la señora Charlotte de Estados Unidos y que han conocido nuestros trabajos. Ahora somos reconocidas en el extranjero gracias a los americanos y a nuestro trabajo. y personas como ustedes. Gracias, señora Charlotte. Hoy somos quien ahora somos y con orgullo nos llamamos el nombre de las rancheritas. Muchas gracias a todos los presentes.
Muchas gracias. Now I think we're going to present Patty from Better Call Patty Plumbing. Presentamos a Patricia Zermeño Williamsl, ¿verdad? De Better Call Patty. Es un negocio de plomería.
What would you like me to do with the, just leave it? Okay.
Gracias,
Muchas gracias por asistir. I don't know how we're going to do this. I'll just, am so honored to be asked to be here. And after seeing the presentation that I just saw, it's intimidating. But here I am. I like the organization, is Mujeres en Cambio, and I think, from what I understand, their logo is women changing the world. And it's really a breath of fresh air to be here with that logo in mind, thinking that I've done something to change our status here. I'm mixed. I'm half Mexican, half American, and the thing that has got me to where I am today is my thinking was I thought I was born to be married and be taken care of. So the biggest change for me has been that doesn't have to be that way, that I found myself at 37, 38 years old, leaving my husband with 2 kids, and not knowing how I was going to support myself or the kids. At that point, I had women in my life that said, you know, well, what do you know how to do? I said, nothing. That's what I thought I knew. And one of them said, well, what have you been doing? I said, well, we've been doing plumbing and construction. She says, well, okay, you start there. I said, she gave me my first job. And I did what I knew how to do without knowing that I knew how to do it. And through my career in this field, every time I get shaky and scared about what I do, I've had an amazing woman behind me give me that push that takes me through the fear and through the process of doing something that's out of my, out of the range, out of what's normal for me. And in my mentality, what's normal for me is stay home, raise your kids, cook and clean, and take care of your husband. And breaking that mold has been the most challenging part of my process. But the thing that I know that has, I'm all shaking this, the thing that has gotten me to where I'm at is those amazing women. And I've had a couple of male men that have had trust in me. One of my first jobs in construction, it was a big remodel, and I added a 4th story to this existing house. And I believe, that the only way I can get through is allowing the support that comes to me, allowing it to come in and taking it in and going forward with it. So I had all the support to do this 4th floor, and believe me, for the first year and a half, I'd wake up at night and I'd think, are the tejas flying off that roof? Because there's a lot of factors when you go on the floor, the wind and all that. And I always thought, you know, well, if it all goes wrong for me, I get to learn something. I get to learn something, and I get to cry, and I get to be devastated, and I get to be feeling worthless, because it's all part of the process for me. And then somebody will be in front of me that will give me that hand to pull me up or push me forward to go to the next level. And what I do today, you know, it's mostly plumbing, and I love what I do. I love what I do. There's always challenges. There's always stuff to learn. And it's a new vision for me to allow my success, to own it, you know, because it's so scary and intimidating to say, wow, I did that. And I've always, part of my breakthrough and part of my mentors in my life have been, you know, my mom was a mentor in different ways, because my mom had 8 kids, but on the side, she always had a business. She always did, you know, the presentation before me was hooking and doing rugs. Back in the 60s, early 70s, my mom was making the little kids' coats. She had these machines where you hook the thread. I'm sorry, I don't remember what they're called. And she, you know, she'd go at it with 8 kids, you know, and she'd still produce. And then she grew a little bit. She had 2 or 3 women that came. And what I see through my life with women that have gone beyond staying at home doing the traditional thing is that they've always had women around them. And it's really amazing to me. You know, part of my process when I first started on this, I had a woman, a young girl, she was in her 20s, work with me, and I taught her the trade, and I had my expectations and my hopes, and I had a design of her life. Hers was different. It didn't fall into mine. And today she's not practicing that. Her challenges were greater than mine as far as being a plumber, you know, because she comes from a really small community, and there was no way that they were gonna have a woman fix a toilet and let it be okay, or a woman do a water line or a pressure system. And so she had to look for other means to support. And that breaks, you know, those are the heartbreaks in my process and in my career. And, you know, if I can offer anything for women that has served me is, you know, surround yourself, allow that support to come in. You know, get out of your little square. Get out of your fear, you know, even if you're shaking, and I am right now. You know, get up and do it and learn from it. And that's what has gotten me where I'm at today. But, you know, I know that I'm here today because of the support of a lot of women that trusted in what I did. And you know, me allowing it to come in. So there you go. And I was going to throw out names, but I'm so glad to see some of them here. Estoy hablando de mi proceso, de cómo yo soy plomera y el programa este se llama Ser Mujer y el tema de ellas es Mujeres cambiando al mundo. Yo no me consideraba una mujer de esas, sin embargo hoy estoy aquí y es un gran honor y es aterrador pensar que sí he contribuido algo a cambiar el rol de la mujer. Mi descendencia, yo soy mitad, mi mamá es americana, mi papá es la parte mexicana mía. ¿Cómo he llegado cómo me desarrollé yo en la plomería? Cuando me encontré de 37, 38 años en el proceso de dejar a mi marido y darme cuenta de qué voy a vivir, qué voy a hacer, no sé hacer nada. Y una amiga mía, mujer, dijo, pues, ¿qué has estado haciendo? Plomería. Dijo, pues, dije, plomería y construcción. Y dijo, pues, haz eso. Dije, pero no sé hacerlo. Ella me dio mi primer trabajo. Y de ahí empezó todo. En el transcurso de mi proceso, el reto más grande ha sido dejar la noción o la idea de que mi rol en esta vida era estar casada, tener hijos, atender mi casa, atender mi marido. Ese ha sido uno de mis retos más grandes, el salirme de ese cuadrito, el aceptar que no tengo marido a mi lado y que tengo que mantener a mis hijos y mantenerme yo. Entonces, en mi proceso, lo que me ha ayudado a llegar a donde estoy hoy es diferentes mujeres en diferentes etapas, que en el momento en que me siento derrotado, pienso que no puedo hacerlo o que algo me salió mal, siempre ha estado ahí una mujer que me da el valor y me dice que está bien para poder seguir adelante. Me ha ayudado a enfrentar derrotas en los momentos en que me he sentido que soy una falsa al hacer lo que estoy haciendo, que no tengo la capacidad de producir lo que tengo que producir. Siempre ha estado ahí una mujer. La otra parte de eso es que cuando ha estado esa mujer ahí, esas diferentes mujeres en mi vida, he estado dispuesta hasta cierto punto a salirme de mi cuadrito y poder aceptar la ayuda que me están brindando, ya sea simplemente decirme no es lo peor del mundo o diferentes palabras. He tenido mujeres, recientemente pasé por una etapa donde estaba muy lento mi negocio. Llegué al punto de pensar que me iba a regresar a Estados Unidos porque no sabía de cómo. Y entraron dos mujeres en mi ayuda y me ayudaron dedicaron su tiempo y su esfuerzo a ayudarme a realizar el nombre de mi negocio, que se llama co-operative, y ellas me ayudaron a llegar a la decisión de ese nombre, me ayudaron a sobrepasar el miedo de ser lo que soy, de ser plomera, de hacer los trabajos que hago. Tenía mucho miedo de decir que eso, de aceptar que eso hacía, aunque ya lo tenía 9, 10 años haciéndolo. Ellas estuvieron ahí en ese brinquito, me ayudaron a organizar mejor la forma en la que trabajo, a programar mejor mis formas de mandar mis cobros, de hacer lo que hago. Y si algún mensaje puedo ofrecerles a ustedes ahora y si les puedo dejar es ese, que cuando yo tengo miedo siempre ha habido alguien ahí y me he podido salir de la cajita y aceptar esa ayuda y crecer y llegar a donde estoy. Yo en mi proceso he tenido puntos donde tengo 25 empleados, he tenido puntos donde estoy a punto de irme con un empleado que no sé cómo sobrevivir y he tenido puntos donde tengo 4 o 5 y ha sido un proceso muy, muy interesante. Me fascina lo que hago y siempre hay algo nuevo que aprender y siempre hay un reto. Me equivoco, yo creo que por lo menos una vez al día, pero aprendo de mi error, lo acepto y no tengo que estar bien todo el tiempo. Ese es mi mensaje y muchas gracias. Es un honor estar aquí.
Muchas gracias, Pati.
Gracias.
Y ahora vamos a presentar a Hilaria Ramírez de Mujeres Productoras, ¿cómo se llama? Mujeres Productores de Montecillo. Y va a hablar de su cooperativa. Y Daniela va a traducir. Right now we're going to present Hilaria Ramírez from Women Producers of Montecillo about the cooperative that she founded. And Daniela is going to translate. Thanks.
Hola, buenos días. Soy Hilaria Ramírez y soy de Montecillo de Nieto, una comunidad de aquí de San Miguel de Allende. Soy parte de un grupo de apicultoras, nos llamamos Dulces Abejas Polinizadores. Tenemos un grupo de desarrollo en la comunidad donde aprendemos a ser autosustentables. Soy presidenta de una organización de comunidades llamada el COCIRA, que es Consejo Ciudadano Rural del Agua.
Her name is Hilaria Ramírez, and she's from a community which is about 15 minutes from here called Montecillo. She's part of a group of beekeepers called Sweet Bees. And she also is in charge of a group which is an amazing group called COCIRA, which does like water conservation and treatment for many communities. It's an amazing group, and so activist and entrepreneur. I'm saying that, she's not.
En el 2010 yo era una mujer como muchas, dedicada al hogar, comiendo y haciendo cosas que me decía la televisión y comprándolas también. Fue entonces cuando a mi comunidad llegaron dos organizaciones llamadas CEDESA y Club Rotario, preocupados por la escasez del agua y la contaminación por minerales en la poca que nos había.
Okay, in 2010, she found that she was in the place where she was supposed to be. You know, she was just, a married mother and a housewife, and basically watching TV and buying stuff. And she found that not so fulfilling. And then she met two organizations which arrived at her village called CEDESA, which is a grassroots organization, and the Rotary Club, which were worried about the water issue in her village, which is an extreme case. There were times when the village had no water going to it, and then the one source of water, which was a well, was contaminated, polluted.
Fue así que nos empezamos a reunir en la comunidad, viendo nuestro problema y nuestras necesidades que nos rebasaban, porque en un lugar donde no hay trabajo, no hay dinero, y donde no hay dinero, no hay despensa para comer, y mucho menos un baño digno, pero sí muchas enfermedades y una muy mala alimentación.
The situation in the village was getting pretty bad because there wasn't any work there, there were problems with water. The village was really poor and they didn't even have money to pay for food, so they started organizing themselves, started calling meetings with everyone.
Cuando CEDESA, preocupados por estos problemas, nos empezaron a reunir con otras comunidades, ya que nuestros problemas eran similares, y así nació el COCIRA, la organización de la que ahora soy presidenta.
So they started talking to other communities which were having similar problems, and that's when they founded the organization of COCIRA, which is the water organization, and she's the president.
En las reuniones empezaron a llevar promotores donde nos hablaban de los alimentos transgénicos y los dañosos que son, y el beneficio de cultivar nuestros propios alimentos. Y como crecí soñando que cultivaba mis propios alimentos, ya que era hija de un padre alcohólico, esto traía como consecuencia ver a mi madre cómo se las ingeniaba para que no nos faltara alimento.
She always dreamed about being able to produce her own food because as a child growing up, her father was an alcoholic and her mother there was always an issue of what they were going to eat.
Emocionada insistí con la organización para que nos enviara un promotor y con mis compañeras para reunirnos cada semana para capacitarnos. Gracias a Dios nos enviaron 3 promotores, uno que nos decía la mala alimentación que teníamos y al mismo tiempo nos enseñaba a cultivar nuestros propios alimentos. Y la otra nos enseñaba a cuidar nuestro cuerpo, a conocerlo y sanarlo con plantas medicinales, barro, agua y sol, a respirar correctamente, mientras que el otro nos apoyaba como comunidad a organizarnos y alcanzar nuestras metas y hacer proyectos.
They became very excited. The organization, CEDESA, sent them people to train them on how to grow their own food, how to health and hygiene, and and also learning about medicinal plants as a way to have better health in the organization and in the community.
Empezaron a hablarnos de los beneficios saludables de la miel y en su economía, y ya apasionadas con lo que estábamos logrando, empezamos a planear cómo conseguiríamos colmenas para recibir la capacitación. Buscamos apoyo como grupo y empezamos a conocer más organizaciones.
They started to talk to us about about the benefits of honey and as a way to have an income generating activity. And so we started planning about how are we going to get the beehives and how are we going to learn how to be beekeepers. This would be something completely.
Conocimos más organizaciones como Huertos Sustentables de San Miguel de Allende, apoyo a gente emprendedora que nos hizo un préstamo sin intereses para comprar material y nos dio talleres para empezar nuestro negocio.
We started reaching out to other organizations like the Gardens program from Feed the Hungry and Apoyo a Gente Emprendedora, which is a nonprofit here that does microlending, so they got their first no-interest loan.
Hasta ese momento yo le ponía mi pasión y el 100% de mi tiempo a mis proyectos junto con mis compañeras y empezamos a superarnos.
So I started to develop a passion for these projects and devote all my free time to them, and we started to superarnos, like overcome these obstacles and grow.
Tenía como ventaja que mi pareja tenía 5 años en Estados Unidos, ya que el tiempo y la distancia había debilitado nuestra relación y comunicación. Él no me tomaba la importancia a lo que a mí me apasionaba. Cuando de pronto regresó, por un problema que había tenido en Estados Unidos, se encontró con una mujer diferente a la que estaba acostumbrado 5 años atrás.
So one of the advantages that she had was that her husband was gone. He was in the United States for 5 years. And so he didn't even know about all the stuff that she was doing. And when he came back, he started going with a woman that he had met before.
La cual tenía una vida, ilusiones y metas y unas compañeras.
Oh yeah. So he came back and so much had changed in 5 years. So there was a problem there with what he was seeing and what she was seeing.
Y en la costumbre donde reina el machismo y el alcoholismo, él no toleró que su pareja, por un motivo de burlas con sus amigos, de los cuales recibía críticas, no toleró que sentir que su pareja estaba compitiendo con él.
It was really difficult from her because in her community the culture is very machista and a lot of alcohol, and his friends were making fun of him for having this wife that was like so strong, and he would have none of it.
En sus arranques de frustración me decía que yo no iba a ser más que él, que no iba a poder más que él, y que lo que estaba aprendiendo no me servía para nada, y que me dedicara a mi casa.
So he was saying that she had to stop, that she couldn't earn more than him or be better than him, and that she had to stop, and that was really frustrating for her.
Esto a mí me frustraba porque en mi interior sabía que yo podía y sé que yo puedo. A pesar que había tenido capacitación con varios psicólogos en diferentes temas, los sentimientos me derrotaban. No podía creer cómo la persona que me decía que me amaba me causara tanto daño con sus palabras.
It was really difficult for her because even though she knew she was worth more and that she could do it, and she wanted to do it, and that different psychologists who had come to the village had told her these things, and it motivated her. You feel this conflict inside you, and she couldn't believe that somebody who would love her would want to hold her back in that way.
Tantos han sido los conflictos que sigo luchando día a día, pero mi amor propio y mis ganas de alcanzar mis sueños siguen ahí.
It's challenging every day, but she has her own goals, and her desire to continue is what's pushing her along.
El sueño de tener mis propios productos de medicina natural, mis productos a base de miel y comercializar nuestra miel y con esfuerzo y pasión vamos trabajando.
Her goal is to have their own products for natural medicine and for honey, and that's what she's working on right now. And they are, o sea, sí tienen abejas y están produciendo. Y I went to visit her and I came away with like grocery bags full of vegetables. It's fantastic. No tiene regalas de tantas verdes. Muy fácil.
Gracias.
Es de el proyecto de Lavender y de Adelante, Juntos por la Colorada, se llama. Dos organizaciones, pero Sophia Trapp va a hablar de... Y también con Lucía. Lucía.
You want me to find it?
Por favor. Okay, now we're going to hear from Sophia Trapp and Lucía Montares Hernandez from the Lavender Project and from Adelante Juntos por la Colorada, which are two organizations that are, as I understand it, they're like family.
Two sides of the coin. So you know how to...
No, I was just about to ask you.
Yeah, just hit this and it goes forward, this goes backwards.
Ojalá.
How are we doing on time? Okay, so, muy perfecto.
¿Ya? ¿Perfecto? ¿Ya? Wow, qué emocionante estas historias, realmente. Yo me siento tan honrada de no solamente estar en este cuarto, pero también ser parte de todo esto. Me están emocionando, casi me vienen las lágrimas. Bueno, I just wanted to say how honored, first of all, foremost, that we're even here, that I'm going to say that I'm in this room with each presentation. It isn't just the presentation, but the presenters, and to feel part of this whole... I've nearly come to tears like 2 or 3 times. It's just so emotional. It's beautiful. My name is Sophia Trapp. I represent a foundation called St. Anthony's Alliance. I have been part of a program called the Lavender Project, but also an asociación civil, an AC, which is called Juntos, Adelante por la Colorada. And I am here with Lucía, tu apellido. Sí. And Lucía represents the community, which also is where St. Anthony's Alliance decided to settle and make its impact. And what I would hope we achieve today is that I will explain almost from our point of view and our thinking as a foundation and how we have gone through difficulties and ultimately, luckily, a success in structuring everything, entering an agricultural community. And Lucía will present from her point of view, having Americans come in, having the foundation come in, and how does that feel? What are the frustrations? What are the learning processes? Así, yo me llamo Sophia Trapp, soy la representante hoy para una fundación que se llama Alianza San Antonio, viene de Albuquerque, los Estados Unidos, y aquí estoy también parada con Lucía. Y ella está de la comunidad La Colorada, que es como 20 minutos, bueno, es 1 hora de aquí, son como 15 minutos al otro lado de Dolores Hidalgo, hacia San Diego de la Unión. Y es una comunidad de agricultor y nuestra meta hoy, yo espero que logramos, es que yo quiero presentar como la punta de vista de una fundación que entra en una comunidad, que fueron las dificultades que últimamente, gracias a Dios, nos llevó el éxito, pero también sí, el camino y el pensamiento y la organización. Al fin, yo espero también Lucía aquí va a presentar su punto de vista de cómo una mujer de la comunidad cómo es ser invadidos de los americanos, ¿no? De fundaciones, qué fueron las frustraciones, qué fueron los logros, y su punto de vista, ¿no? De cómo estamos al fin, sí, trabajando bien juntos, pero quizás al fin ayuda a la gente aquí de ver un poco del proceso. Okay.
Bueno, mi nombre, se los vuelvo a repetir, es Lucía Monjaras Hernández, vengo de una comunidad, la Colorada, como lo decía Sofía, ahorita soy parte de ahí del centro comunitario de la organización. Bueno, al principio es una historia muy larga.
Yo voy a traducir para ti, así me dejas ver. No, ahora no, pero...
les decía yo, bueno, es una historia muy larga el cómo surgió el centro comunitario. No me la sé desde el principio porque soy nueva ahí en la comunidad, tengo como 18 años ahí. Entonces, bueno, ahorita...
¿Qué?
Me dice a qué horas.
Sí, ahora. Lucia said, well, that she's saying that, again, perspectives. Lucia comes from the Colorada, but she says she's fairly new because she's only been there 18 years. Just so you understand, La Colorada is it sits in the ejido that is made up of 80 families, and they broke off from another ejido to form their own ejido, so they're also only a youthful 80 years old, and Lucia arrived por casar por tu esposo, llegaste?
Por mi esposo llegué a
She arrived marrying into the ejido through her husband.
Ahora soy parte de ahí de la organización, donde gracias a los que nos apoyan, ahora es creo yo que es una organización con éxito, porque al principio, pues como lo decía Sofía, fue algo complicado.
So Lucia is saying that she is a part of the organization. She's actually vice president of the ADC itself. And Araceli, who is the president, who grew up in the community, she's the president. There's a board of directors. I'll take a step back and explain. Voy a quizás, una vez que terminamos, explicar la estructura. But Lucia, just to finish her thought, is saying that when it has been very frustrating. They have gotten to a place now where she believes it will work. We only started this part a year ago, and
ahora ahorita estamos bueno, dentro del centro, nuestra organización ahorita
yo tengo ya yo puedo enseñar, ¿no? Cuando hacemos esto de la C podemos hablar. Voy a hablar del contexto, de la gran pantalla, y después vamos a esta parte. So, when Alianza San Antonio came in, so we'll go into actually details. Do I point this down?
At the computer.
So as all good stories go, it all begins with the dream of one person. And there was a beautiful, there was a beautiful person. He was a priest of La Colorada. His name was Joaquín, y su apellido fue? Martínez. He was a priest, and what everybody tells me, he's passed away now, was just this beautiful life. And he formed a very special relationship with a woman at Albuquerque. And he had as his goal, I just want to help La Colorada and have the gift of forming these international relationships. She then was going to pass away and found Jim and Tess, who founded St. Anthony's Alliance, and she managed to pass the baton on to them. And they basically they inherited this and had no idea what to do. So they inherited a town they'd never been to, or with a set of, let's say, objectives that were passed on to them, and needed to come in with their own ideas of how this was going to work. So it began in 2000 with Esperanza de Joaquín. And the Esperanza de Joaquín was specifically to use the natural talent of the ladies for sewing and to help them improve their sewing and have a business through that, a home business. And as you can see here, it was in 2006 that St. Anthony's Alliance took over the funding. And then that was, so I'll translate now and then I'll go into what our thought process was at that time. So, como toda historia se empieza con un sueño de alguien. Había un padre en este pueblo que tenía, era un ser magnífico como todos dicen, y tenía la suerte de tener una conexión con una señora de Albuquerque. Y ella apoyó, su sueño era de ayudar a las mujeres del pueblo y enseñarles cómo organizarse y coser y vender esto y así tener un ingreso para ellos. Pero era con la idea de realmente estas mujeres y nadie más, ¿no? Este grupo, pero dar un puente, establecieron un puente entre la Colorada y el mundo afuera. Esta señora, tristemente, cerca de 2006, estaba fallando con su salud y gracias a Dios encontró Jim y Tess Tryon y ellos dijeron que, bueno, aceptaron la responsabilidad de este pueblo sin saber, sin haber visitado, sin saber qué pasó. Sí, nadie. Pero dijeron que sí, ellos también querían hacer un proyecto. So, in 2006, la visión, los dos son doctores y las dos dijeron, para ellos la gran tristeza era que las familias estaban también rompiéndose, bueno, quizás no rompiéndose, pero separándose mucho porque los hombres tenían que irse al norte y las mujeres quedaban solas con los niños, ¿no?, en los pueblos, y ellos estaban tratando de ver cuáles fueron las fuerzas de las comunidades ahí y cómo se pudiera hacer un negocio, un negocio basado en esto para apoyar las mujeres con trabajos, pero también familias enteras. Porque tener la mujer feliz es también tener una familia feliz. Y eso fue que es una comunidad de agricultor y dijeron, bueno, saben cosechar, saben plantar, saben sembrar, ¿por qué no entramos una nueva cosecha? Que puede hacer, que puede tener un gran utilidad. Y ella, la doctora Tess, pensó en lavanda, porque ella dijo, todos aman lavanda, es algo, aquí es como en el Provence, ella tenía la visión de ver hectáreas con lavanda y el olor y tener personas, compradores, ¿no? La gente de México, algo, comprando lavanda, ser apasionada de este lavanda y comprar productos. Voy un poco más. So, I just spoke in Spanish, sorry. So with that, no, because I'm so used to mixing, so just, so then I better go back. So what the doctor Tess, she really found that what she wanted to do was enter into this community, and for her it was about keeping families together and about giving women more opportunity. And so what she took a look at was looked at the community and said, what can we do here? You know, besides the sewing, which was there, but what can they do? They are agriculture specialists. I mean, they know how to plant, they know how to harvest, they know how to take care of the land. And so she felt that there would be a market, as there always, you know, amongst women in all of Mexico, Mexico City, that everyone loved lavender. And it was very similar to the south of France. So why couldn't we grow lavender and have a harvest that would just bring a much greater return than just corn and beans and just what is typical? And so she spent, therefore, the next couple of years beginning this. and starting a company up where not only was it about bringing lavender in, but it was about then bringing the sewing ladies from Joaquin together, and then bringing, figuring out what, not only to produce the lavender oil, but what products could one make. So more of a vertical expansion, so not just sell the oil, but then make products with it that could then go into the market. Ella pensó en la banda realmente tratando de crear productos y cómo hacer trabajo, no solamente haciendo el aceite, pero después haciendo productos usando la flor, así hacer como almohadas con flor de lavanda o jabones con el aceite de lavanda y todo, siendo como expansión vertical. Bueno, estoy yéndome muy en esto, sorry, better go back to English. What I'm doing now is I'm going very much into, the lavender, just to explain really where the beginning point for her was. But I think that the doctors, the foundation, what they saw in the village is that there's two ways of helping. One is that for her it was very dangerous if you just give and don't actually, there's giving which is helpful, and then the giving can become destructive. And so from the part of the foundation, it was how to find that balance of sustainable giving, but then also give in a way that people can earn their own living and earn their own dignity. Así para decir este punto, el pensamiento desde el principio de los doctores de la Fundación Alianza San Antonio es ver la manera en que se da, porque se da y puede ser muy positivo, pero en algún momento dar puede ser destructiva, porque puede significar que está dependiendo de esta persona, solamente dar. Y tiene que ver de apoyar, pero también mantener que hay un nuevo nivel, que la gente puede recibir su dignidad, que pueden trabajar para sí mismo. En caso de que algo pasa, si van, hay algo que quedó, hay semillas sembradas, no solamente gotas de agua que alguien puede cerrar. So that is where two sides of these coins were formed. On one hand, the Lavender Project was formed, which was a business, and it was set out to be a business, and it was to give jobs, and it was to create a profit, and there are basically shareholders. The original people who started the project, they're shareholders. St. Anthony's Alliance is not an owner of the business, it's the people themselves. So their part of it was to supply the consultants and to supply loans that they needed for anything in order to move the business forward. Because the banking is one of the hardest things for agricultural people in the countryside. To get any credit, any loans at a reasonable interest rate doesn't exist. So that's on one side. And the other side was to make this AC, which would address problems in the community, which was purely a giving project, and to lift up through education and donations the general standard of living. And so therefore there were many different paths into this project. You could either get a job here or you could get a job at DC, for example. So en español, para decir que el pensamiento era de hacer dos organizaciones. Uno, un negocio, y la idea de ayudar allí es dar trabajo. Es un negocio que se tiene que también manejar como un negocio con utilidad o deudas o algo así. Y ellos daban las personas que daban consejos y también créditos, que es muy difícil para ¿cómo se dice? Pueblos o ranchos agricultores, es muy difícil lograr créditos. Así ellos daban esto, pero tenían que repagarlo. Pero los intereses eran a cero. Así, eso fue el apoyo práctico, pero también dando trabajo. Ahora están como 36 personas trabajando en el proyecto de la banda. Y empezábamos, how much do we I know I use so. Y la C es el otro lado, que es para dar en la comunidad y solamente, bueno, no solamente, pero apoyar y dar y educar, ¿no? Y solamente para enseñar, para que vean, because we've gone with our time, or getting there, ahí hay trabajos también, y lo que estamos haciendo son esto. This is the side of the foundation. Si quieres, puedes eliminar.
Bueno, ahorita tenemos los programas que estamos trabajando. Tenemos el de alimentación. El de alimentación consiste, bueno, ¿puedo explicar cada uno? ¿O no?
Bueno, sí, pero con una frase porque ya están diciendo.
Bueno, tenemos el de alimentación donde elaboramos atole de maíz, o sea, atole natural, galletas naturales de trigo natural, avena, amaranto y demás. Por ahí también tenemos lo que es becas, apoyamos a nuestros estudiantes con becas. Becas. Tenemos lo de becas también, apoyamos a nuestros jóvenes para motivarlos a que sigan estudiando. Por ahí tenemos lo que
16.
Apoyamos a 16 becarios y pues ahí está el monto que se les da a cada uno. También tenemos lo que es la salud, o sea, también hay un programa de salud donde está beneficiada algunas familias, porque no toda la comunidad se beneficia, sino algunas familias.
Y hay una enfermera en el pueblo también, puro
que
para
da
la gente de la
auxilios.
comunidad. There's a nurse also on full call.
Pues
see the major challenges.
es bueno,
Y transporte, ¿no? Tiene después.
Centro de aprendizaje también tenemos ahí dentro de la comunidad.
This is bringing computers and internet into the community. And then what is fantastic here is, well, there were concerns as well, for example, about having them surf to inappropriate places. So part of what, the women also we have someone watching. There's someone making sure that they go what they need to do for their homework. Nosotros había como, ¿cómo se dice? Que estaban preocupados que iban a surfear donde no deberían irse, así hay una persona que paga también la C para cuidar que no van a hacer nada mal, ¿no? Que no van a ningún lugar menos para educarse. Y es increíble porque antes tenían que irse a Dolores que 40 minutos en camión para imprimir algo o para leer algo o hacer sus deberes. So we have 4 at the moment working and they're fantastic. So aquí todos hacen sus deberes ahora. So it's really a homework room and connects them to the outside world. And then we have a transport system. And so tenemos un coche y pagamos para que ellos tienen acceso a todos los hospitales y los doctores en Dolores. So there's a full car and a driver that can take them anywhere, anytime they need to go for appointments into Dolores, which before was also a real problem in case there were any emergencies. And the thing, these programs were voted for by them. So again, what we're always doing is just being there to guide them into making the decisions themselves. Yo estoy diciendo que los programas al fin ustedes han elegido, que nosotros siempre hemos estado ahí para apoyarles a aterrizar las ideas que tienen.
Las necesidades más que nada que la comunidad está pidiendo.
Aquí, ese es el centro comunitario. Aquí también trabaja el proyecto de Lavender, que paga renta a la sede. Así el uno. Y esas son las metas para 2016. Ya han logrado increíblemente. ¿Cuántos filtros de agua? Ahora hemos comprado 80.
82.
Sí, 82. Cada familia ahora en este pueblo tiene un filtro, uno de estos from Catholics or Catholics. Y cada uno tiene un filtro y fue pagado por la fundación y también hay donaciones dentro del pueblo también. Y ahora ya en un año han solucionado su problema con filtrar agua. Era increíble, solamente juntarse. Y este año tienen, gracias a Dios por el logro, un gran meta, todo energía solar en 2 años, quizás tardará. So this year their big goal is to have solar energy. So now they've dealt with the water in their homes, now they'd like to have solar energy. So, and then, continue supplying it, but I think they did, han hecho 80%, no? So 80% of the homes, sorry if I exaggerate a little bit. So they're, this is the website where you can see, they continue to play, to hold the space for them, so in case, and until, the whole idea though is this AC will begin to be independent in 3, 4, 5 years, and it was formed to be an AC so that more of Mexico could continue to support Mexico, and that it wasn't just dependent on one couple's donation. And so I think that on our side, the foundation believes that this can be done in 4 to 5 years. That in the end, they will be fully within an infrastructure, a support structure that could help them have all the necessities they need. And in the meantime, the Lavender project is growing and growing, and so the Lavender project has now dedicated 10% of all of its profit to go to the AC. So that is the work of the people going back then to the other people. Yo no sé si tienes últimas palabras para...
Pues nada más que nada agradecer a las personas que se han preocupado por la comunidad, por las personas que necesitamos. Estamos muy agradecidos con ellos. Sí, pues, gracias por la oportunidad.
Very much to all the presenters for coming. We really appreciate it. Lo agradecemos mucho y qué inspiración para todos.
¿Preguntas?
¿Hay preguntas?
Where can you buy the Lavender products?
The Lavender products are literally in every health store in town, starting at the Rosewood down to Natura or the Organica, Moonrise,
Victoriana. The organic market.
What's the
Organic
brand
market every
name? How do we
Saturday.
recognize them? What's the brand name or the
The
package?
Lavender Project.
That's what it's called?
Yeah, the Lavender Project.
So how are you actually doing your marketing? So, I mean, is it just in San Miguel, or are you expanding into other cities? And if so, who's doing that?
So I'm one of 3 consultants that came along, and I actually arrived just when they were about to go bankrupt. And that was the big challenge, was to turn it around, and that was the challenge about how you can give and not be effective at it, have a big plan and it not work. And the marketing, what was amazing about the Lavender is it really does inspire people, and people just go, oh, I love it, love it. And we started just with the Tianguis Organico, and we're fine with that. But what was amazing was when we started approaching the hotels, we really wanted to be Mexico-based first, and the hotels and various boutique stores, they were the ones that turned around. And for example, we're in Rosewood. When you come as a visitor, or Sierra Nevada, ours is the soap that you receive as your daily soap. And we were offering them, saying it's great for your image as well. Instead of just buying an ivory soap from somewhere, or you could.
But
so
who's the we?
Well, we are doing that. So I do that. Anyone who's there, and also the president of the organization has learned from us. And so there was a group of 4 of us, at just 3 consultants who were helping, but in the end, he's learned everything, and they are doing their own marketing. And so now, for example, we're selling in Texas for the first time because a Mexican company got so passionate. So instead of also doing, let's say, boutique hotels, we're now on the roadside, the whole road up to Laredo, every roadside restaurant, there's where, for the middle class tourist as well, they're buying them as well. So it's tons of the soap coming out. A lot is the universe, or God, as you want to say, where just your products start going and you see where they land.
Quiero decir esto en español. Muchas personas personas dijeron gracias a Dios. Pero después de eso, tenemos que cambiar la frase. Gracias a Dios. It really is true. Women really help each other and connect and can make things happen. And it makes me so proud of being part of this group. And I wish that we had a lot more people here today, but I'm inspired.
Very inspiring. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. The only thing I wanted to mention is that tomorrow we have a film, correct, at 1 p.m. in the Santa Ana Theater. Which film is it again?
Solar Mamas.
Solar Mamas, and the director is here to speak.
It's about the women who went to Barefoot College in India to learn how to become solar technicians and go back to their communities in the third world, as Julie said, to electrify their communities. So we have a photographer and an author here who is writing a book about the solar mamas in 5 Latin American countries. So he'll be joining us. And we decided to let a man be on the agenda.